With the recent move by this administration to reposition the economy, there's this growing call for industrialization for this administration to see what it can do to ensure that Nigeria remain on a strong footing. And that call has become imperative, knowing that with the recent World Bank statistics putting us at a very disadvantaged position when it comes to industries and also when it comes to more Nigerians getting employed. And definitely that's the growing call that many feel needs to be answered to. And that's the call for more industries to be provided in the country. And with this, we really want to say it's time for us to talk about this on the big story for today. And that's what we're talking on the big story for today. We're talking about repositioning the economy and the recent call for industrialization to see how we can really do that. And to truly help us talk about this, like I said, that's what we're having as a major one today on the big story. We're talking about a recent call for more to be done in the creation of more industries as this administration plans to reposition the economy for better performance. To truly help us talk about this, we have no other person but Comrade Francis Onofie join us in this discussion. Good morning and welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning.
Definitely, you still know Rikemi Miriam is with me here, and we'll be doing that together. Now, let's try and break it down and really start with what industrialization revolution means. Mr. Frank Onofie.
Yeah, to start with, we must understand the word industrialization. And to industrialize, for instance, we talk about revolutionizing the industries in Nigeria. We are talking about moving a paradigm shift or drastic move from our obsolete way of doing things craftily with our hands to a more mechanized way of production with the use of machines. And if you look at the developed world, this is what they started in about the 18th century. And with that, they have used that to the advantage and to the disadvantage of the third world, in which we fall into the bracket. So if we talk about shifting from a way of doing things, for instance, if you have a block industry, you are using your hand to mold your blocks. Let me use that local balance. Are using your hands to mold your blocks. And you now bought a machine. You are now using your machine to produce those blocks, a vibrator machine to produce those blocks. Then you have moved from the obsolete way of doing it to a more mechanized way of doing it, and that is going to yield more production, a more efficient production. In terms of employment, a lot will be employed when it comes to that, because you have need of experts to do that.
Okay, taking from what you said, but with a little bit of deviation, what is the need for Nigeria industrializing, especially when everything we need we literally import as a country? What is the need then for Nigeria to industrialize at all?
All right, I love that question. Why? Because for so many years now, Nigeria, if you look at the bilateral trade agreement with China, in 2022, Nigeria was, Nigeria and China, their trade volume was about $20 billion. And if you look at that, what is the one on the side of Nigeria? Just pass with some. What is Nigeria exporting to China? And what is China? China today is the largest exporting nation. And if you look at what Nigeria is importing today, it's to the disadvantage of Nigerians, because it's not helping the economy at all. We have a lot of unemployment as a result of import. We import virtually everything that we make use of in this country. So we need to industrialize so that we can encourage our local production and also encourage export. And when you are exporting to other countries, it will help to revamp the economy of such a country. So Nigeria needs it. We can't keep on with this way of import. We import almost everything, and that cannot really help the economy of this great nation, Nigeria.
Ever witnessed industrialization in the past?
Yes, they did. Even this issue of industrialization, even from 1914 until 1960, it was on, but not on a very high scale or large scale. But Nigeria have been having an industrialization process from time to time. If you look at the First Republic, it was also there, and the Second Republic, before this, they toppled the government in power then by the military. Then the Second Republic again, it was reawakened. So we have experienced that before. We know when companies like Michelin, companies like Dunlop, like Barrett, like the Niger Print and all that, most of the companies, they were foreign companies that came to Nigeria. Even when we talk about oil exploration and other solid minerals, they were part of industrialization, if you look at it very well, because they brought about innovations and employment to the citizens of this country in a very large scale. So they have experienced it before.
Okay, you did make mention of the word investors.
Yes.
Foreign investors. My question now is this: do we still have people, especially in Nigeria, like Nigerian investors, who are willing to invest in industries, considering the loss suffered by those in the past? Right now, it's no news that at this point we really do not have much investor companies, unlike before. So now, do you think there are any investors who will be willing? And if at all, what are those things that would actually make them, if we lack such, what are those things that would actually interest or make investors interested in investing in Nigeria?
Just two major things. You have to revamp the economy, the energy sector, and also the security sector. So you have to work on it, because that is what, in the first place, made them to leave. What brought them in the first place to Nigeria? We have the population. We have the enabling environment. That was what attracted foreign investors to Nigeria. But when they were here operating, and in the mid-90s to early 2000, the issue of insecurity saw us. And also our energy sector, was nothing to write home about. So a lot of them were witnessing a lot of losses. So they have no other option than to leave, because you cannot keep operating in an environment where you don't even make gains, and at the end of the day, you are even borrowing to pay your staffs. And at the end of the day, the issue of kidnapping came up again. Most of their staff, those expatriates, were being kidnapped, killed, and all that. So they felt insecure. They felt kind of the power, generating power for their own production. So it was not encouraging to them. That was the reason for them leaving. But now, if the government should work on insecurity and the environment is well secured, and also the power sector is revamped, I bet you they are going to come back, because that is their business. All over the world, they go to nations, they look for nations they can easily operate and make gains. So if the environment is good enough for them to operate, they are going to come back.
Okay. Well, you did make mention of some major factors that are stopping these investors from coming in. You said energy sector, which is power. Yeah. You made mention of insecurity. My question to you now is this: these issues that have been on ground for a very long time. It's no news to anybody now that we have issues of insecurity in Nigeria as well as the power sector. Why is it that at this point Nigeria as a country is unable yet to fix these problems? Because they have been here for a very long time. What is that thing that is stopping the country or the government from actually fixing the power sector or the issue of insecurity?
It was an issue of vested interest, because if you look at the issue of insecurity, for instance, there is some part of this country, there are things that we do. Even the government in power will not even have enough guts to tackle. And when you come to the south here, for instance, issue of insecurity also in the south here, there are some vested interests also, because they want to protect what is giving them the money, what is giving them the wealth they so much long for, which is the crude oil here. So now you are asking, what is making before now? Why are those sectors not being fixed? When you talk about vested interest, if what is supposed to go for those sectors, you are now using it to maintain the system, there is no way you can revamp the sector. For instance, I look at what the newspaper reviewed this morning. Look at the money, I think $800 million. They're about borrowing. Look at what is going for the National Assembly, and look at what is going to the public. 8,000 naira. What can that do? And in what way can that assist in relieving the people of this burden of sufferings? So if you talk about the system not being revamped, it's because of vested interest. A lot of people, the past government, when they even have the interest of doing it, the system will not allow them, because the power that be will let them know that, look, this money have to go to this sector, this one have to go to this sector, this is what we have invested in this sector, so there is no way you can work on that sector. If not, they have every reason to fix it, but they wouldn't do it. I bet you, we just pray that this present government even have somewhat the courage to even tackle this issue of insecurity and issue of energy in Nigeria.
Well, Francis, I'm pleased with you. We need to go on a break now. But when we come back, we'll continue our discussion as we look at the reason for more industries to be created, and Nigeria really having a change, especially as it concerns the economy. Let's go on a break.